Hey, good evening, everybody. This week we're going to go over accounting and finance with our companies. This is going to be discussion board week 3, and just briefly going to talk about some of the highlights so far. And this is based on Textron's quarterly release. This is their second quarter release. Their cash flow on operations of $245 million. Bell revenue is up. There's Textron Systems, that'd be their military part. It's up 6% from the prior year with an operating margin of 11.3%. And the good news is they have restarted manufacturing operations at aviation and their industrial plants. So we can kind of see that they are planning for a comeback, as the fear of COVID-19 starts to subside. We're starting to see a little bit more pick up, and hopefully by their third quarter release we're going to see a little bit different turn of events than what's happening currently right now. So I know this is really boring, and it's all company financials, but this is what we're doing for week 3, and we just got to get through it. So I was able to pull a graph from Textron and see here, and this is going way back, but I did break it down for the last 3 quarters right here. And so for net income, which is going to be this part of the graph here, we can see that their net income is down right now, and also their total revenues, but in the goods part, their total cost and expense is also down a little bit as well. But it's also, if you look here, obviously you can see where that $92 million is going. We're down. So is the company turning a profit right now is what we're going to answer later on. Going by the net income, no, not right now. But they have a lot of backlogs and a lot of positive things that are happening. But they're not able to put that in their income because it's money that they haven't technically made yet. So it was a little bit confusing to me at first to kind of look at these financial reports, and in the 10K and their quarterly releases, they made it sound very good, even though at the same time it was very bad, because you want to keep your shareholders and anybody that has an interest in the company excited. And let's look at assets here. So total current assets, total manufacturing assets. This really doesn't show an expense part, but that would be back in the net breakdown. And all of this is in millions, if you guys are wondering. So technically that would be $7.65 billion. But in all of these graphs, and probably most likely in what you've seen in your reports too, they break it down into millions of dollars. So total manufacturing assets, we're looking at $14 billion. Total finance group assets, $964 million. And cash flow. So this was pretty interesting for Textron. They did not provide a quarterly breakdown on this. They only provided a yearly breakdown on this. So, and if you look at the middle of the graph here, you can see the net increase, and that's why I have the decrease here, because there was a spot in 18 where they had a decrease, and then we had a blip back up and for 19. So, and we talked about profit earlier. Is the company making a profit? My quote for Textron was, and for this particular presentation, was business profits should be planned for and not left to chance. Well, all of this information that we have, it does a really good job of being able to forecast. So if you remember, we talked in the beginning of the presentation that Textron was actually opening back up manufacturing in their industrial and in their aviation departments, because they do see an end to this. This information is what I pulled from the quarterly report from them. Says, and this is why it was a little confusing to me, because here you have revenues at Textron Aviation of $747 million, even though they were down $376 million for the second quarter of 2019. and they cite primarily due to COVID-19, travel restrictions, basically lower demand in general without having to read the whole thing word for word. But also in the report, I noticed that Bell Helicopter was up. The Textron Systems, their profits were up, and apparently it was not enough to offset the net income though. So there were sectors that did bring up their income and that were improving despite COVID-19, but obviously it was not enough to offset that $92 million loss. So that's what I came up with, guys. These are my reference. Obviously this is our a guide for aviation management and service, and then obviously Textron investors. All right, thanks. Hope you enjoyed it.